If you've been diagnosed with ADHD, and especially if, like me, you're a therapist with ADHD, then you know the struggle's real. But here's the good news. I found some game-changing strategies that help me not only manage, but thrive. In this video, I'm sharing my top ADHD hacks that help keep me on track as a therapist and in my everyday life. So let's dive in and figure out how to make ADHD work for us and not against us. It's interesting to kind of think about life before I was diagnosed because I always thought it was normal. And I was always really confused how other people were so functional in their lives and how they got stuff done. I was just genuinely thinking that there was something fundamentally wrong with who I was or how I am as a human being because I struggled to do the things that everyone else seems to find so normal. So I was 38 when I was diagnosed. And now I'd say my life makes a lot more sense. And it's actually been really helpful to understand people that are neurodivergent. Like truly, like I actually understand it so much better now in so many ways. That's been so incredibly helpful. I know for me is that I have to decrease the mental load in many, many places of my life in order for me to be able to function and be well. So I find doing like that nightly routine of like packing my bag, having my laptop charged, having my phone charged, having a little kit with, my lip gloss and lip balm and maybe deodorant just in my bag, having my wallet already in there, like having my bag ready to go so that I can actually flow into my day. One of the pieces around being a therapist with ADHD is that I know I can be the person where I just kind of go like, go, 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 crash. And that's something that I definitely noticed. I did a lot before I found out that I had ADHD. And definitely in the last few years, I've really changed this pattern of like, go, 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 go. And I've learned this whole idea and concept that, there's this whole idea around like vacation island. And I can only kind of go on vacation island when everything is done. I cannot have a vacation or a rest or anything until I've done every single task on my to-do list, even if my body is screaming at me to stop and lie down. I will just keep on going. So I've been working really hard on changing this whole idea that I can actually like go to vacation island for a little bit, take a rest, and then go back out into the waves again. So I'm getting these breaks throughout the weeks and the months versus I'm going to save up all for my vacation island where I'm going to go away for a full week, be completely disconnected, and then come back. That's great too, but I also need to have more breaks in between everything instead of being like, go, 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 crash, go, 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 crash. Like, I think anyone who's listening to this will also see that pattern where they're like, I just keep crashing because we're often not building in any rest at all in between it because we usually feel guilty about taking any rest. The second piece has been actually really creating focused time blocks when I can really be my most productive self. There are days where I have my clinical days where I see lots of clients and I'm really deep into that focus of seeing my clients. And then I have other days where I have good blocks of time, like an hour to 4 hour blocks of time that I can focus on the study times, the admin tasks that I need to do. Because I know for me, if it's like I wake up and I know like every Monday is bank day, every Monday becomes bank day. It takes the mental load off of thinking, what do I have to do today? It's Monday. I just know Mondays mean this, Tuesdays mean this, Wednesdays are this. So it's really helped create less mental load in my brain of what I have to do, which thank God has been a game changer. I think the other big thing that I've noticed of what I find has been really helpful is actually having the maximum time amount that I'm going to study or get ready for each particular client. Because in the past, I would start reading about something and I'm like, oh my God, this is so fascinating. And next thing you know, I am like in this rabbit hole of all these things. And I'm like, wow, I just spent 3 hours reading about this thing, which is fascinating, but it's actually not the priority right now. It's actually like I already got the information like about 2 hours ago. So I now have all this time, which has been great to learn about this thing, but it also means that I wasn't able to get fully prepped for my other client. So I have 20 minutes in between each session. And in that 20 minutes between each session, do my charting, write down anything that was really interesting or curious for me of areas I have to research, get all the things ready so that I'm ready for the next session with that client. If there are things that I have to do some deep diving in because I'm like, I don't know what to do next, or, ooh, this what's going on, but I need to learn a little bit more about this, I put that on my task list to do on Thursday afternoons, where I do more of the bigger prep time, the bigger research time. So that way in that 20 minutes, I can get everything done that I need for that client, have everything ready to roll for their next appointment, and then also make down any notes that I need to study to become more proficient in. So that's good for me. Some clinicians may need 25 or even 30 minutes, so you have to decide what's actually going to work better for you. I have a lot of different ideas, and I write these things all over the place. Maybe they're in my phone in a notes app, then maybe I might write it down and also like on Post-it notes. I'm classic for writing things on Post-it notes. I might have it in another manager thing in an app. Like I can have notes spread out all over the place. So the strategy is, although I write stuff out, maybe in that moment I write down a Post-it note, but then I have to put it in one central location so I can find it in everything. I might have one thing just for personal life, one thing just for work, but it has to have its own home. It has to have one central location. So at the end of every single day, before I go home, at the end of the day, I write everything out in the home of where it belongs instead of having it in like 5 different spots. Because let's be honest, if I'm in session, I don't have the ability to just write it down in the appropriate home. It might be like I have to write it down somewhere else that I can be aware of it and then put it into its home by the end of the day or at the end of every single session. Then I have the action plan of when I need to do it. I think another part with being a therapist is that we have to do a lot of planning and a lot of thinking about our clients. What I've learned is that sometimes having a start date is better than a due date, because if you're like me, you're like, hey, I can do this on Friday. I can do this thing on Friday. And I can do this thing on Friday. And I can do this thing on Friday. And then next thing you know, I've actually put about 40 hours worth of work into a 6 or 8 hour day. It's impossible. So I've learned to start moving things, having start dates, with giving myself like a week, maybe 2 weeks to accomplish that task. I've also learned along the way that if I put a stopwatch to a task, then I actually understand how much time it takes. As you know, ADHDers, we really are not great with time management. And what that means inherently is that we don't know how long it takes us to do certain things. That is one of the biggest things of ADHD management, is medication, because it's a neurobiological thing. It's not something that we can wish away, or it'll get better at different times in my life, or if I just put all the strategies in. That's not how that works. Our brains are kind of like a Ferrari brain, and we may not have any brake fluid. So that was a really great analogy I heard from Dr. Barkley, and I loved it because it feels really true. The medication is the brake fluid. So that's going to help us manage our Ferrari brains a lot better than without having any medication. I've discovered that every single medication, they all have their pros and cons. Some medications work really well for you and some will not. So part of trying medication is actually trying a whole bunch of different ones and seeing how your body responds best, how it responds best to your ADHD symptoms, and how your body responds to the side effects of that med. The whole point of the medication is to help you to have a really good baseline so that you can focus, that we're not maybe as impulsive. Like, we're really targeting what your ADHD symptoms are and how they get better. If the med isn't working, we change it up. And what I've learned is that ADHD and our menstrual cycle, they are connected. So our symptoms will increase at certain points of our cycle compared to other points. That is what it means to be a woman with ADHD. This is also connected to menopause and how that will also make a difference. So your medication may need to shift and change during, especially like your menopause life or your perimenopause life. It may need to shift and change. It by far has been the best money that I've spent around the ADHD side of things, because I know for me is that I need someone to A, keep me accountable, B is that this is in a regularly scheduled time slot, so I'm not having to, essentially it's almost like body doubling in a way, where I know I'm meeting with someone, I have the accountability, I'm spending the money and investing in this time. I'm not spending the hours researching what's going on, because sometimes I don't even know what to research. Like, I explain to my coach what's going on, and she can clearly say, this is what's happening, here's the why, here's what to do. Like, the why and what to do have been so helpful versus me spending, gosh, like an hour, a couple hours going down ADHD rabbit holes where I didn't find the information that I was looking for, or it didn't work for me. And I also wanted to have it coming from someone that I trusted and is an expert in ADHD versus these different threads that I'm going down, and I didn't trust the information where it was coming from. So she's really helped to make concepts really clear. I understand what's going on, and giving really good strategies for like what I need. Because although we all have like a lot of the same symptoms, it can present in very different ways. Like, my impulsivity looks different than somebody else's. I know with my coach is that when I explain things, I know she's going to understand it, and she can explain it to me really quickly, really simply, of the why, what's happening, and what I need to do. Technology isn't the biggest win that we thought it was going to be for ADHDers, because then the problem can be, oh, like my phone isn't charged, or the computer isn't charged, I don't have the cables for it, now I can't find it, and then it just becomes a little bit of a disaster. While having my phone is a really great thing that I can keep everything central on, is that part of it is that when I've used it to keep track of notes or ideas or grocery list items, is that I go to it, I see something shiny because there's the notification, and I go swan dive into something completely different. I'm completely distracted, and I've lost everything that I remembered of what I was even trying to do. So I use my phone for when I need it, but then I've also used Google Nest and Siri to link up to apps so that I can use voice commands, tell it what I need to remember, set dates for it, set alarms for it, so that all in one shot I can put it onto the appropriate list that I need to, instead of getting sucked into the wonderful world of the internet and reading things that don't even matter. Since you made it this far, I'm guessing you're a fellow therapist, so kudos to you for investing in your growth. If you're looking for a game-changing training to level up your practice, check out this next video where I talk about EMDR therapy and how it's been absolutely transformational in my counseling practice, and what I would do differently if I were to do the training all over again. I'll see you there.